Om Sri Ganeshaya Namaha Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Sakana Vavadu Sakana Punattu Sakaviryan Karabhavahai Tejasvina Vadidamastuma Vitvijavahai Om Shanti 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 Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Om Namo Bhagavate Vaibhaspadaya Mistave Brahma Vidya Charyaya Nasketa Secha. Good morning. We have seen the ninth mantra of the second valley of the second Adhyaya of Kathopanishad. In the ninth mantra, perhaps we will start with the eighth mantra just to get the context back. In this section, Bhagavan is imparting to Nachiketas again and again, Punah Punaha, Atma Swarupam, Jiva Swarupam, Jiva Gati. Understand what is Jiva, what is Atma. Atma is also called, is Ishvara, Brahma. Jiva is the Jiva Bhavam that we have, and out of Ajnanam, we think we exist separately from the Atma, the Ishvara. That separation creates Dvaitam. That creates all kinds of desires, fears, and that creates a samsara. So make it very clear in the mind, liberation, redemption, freedom, mukti, moksha, peace, shanti, all these beautiful words, they are not just meant to be some acquisition of a status after we disembody, after we die. That is not the point. What is the guarantee after I die I get someplace where I get this peace? So if I therefore look at that acquisition of peace as an acquisition, what does the acquisition means? That you acquire something because you don't have it. So when you want to acquire that peace, that liberation, that freedom, and if you see it as separate from you, because we are in a Dvaita Bhavam, then you always chase that joy, invisible, inexplicable pleasure through many means. The simplest means is money. Simplest means is a good company, good wife, good children, security. So we go after all this one after the other to realize they do not give you that redemption, the freedom. So if I therefore do papa punyas or punyas, not papa, do punyas and accumulate with a view that I can get a better life, sure you will get a better life in whatever world that you deserve. And there you have another rat race, because you and I compete for punyas and we achieve a better world, but we still coexist. The Dvaitam exists. So the competition exists, comparison exists, fear exists. So therefore, if the Jivan is looking for liberation, redemption, or shanti, this is not something which you have to acquire after death. Then this science becomes any other science that you put an effort, put some karmas, become a karma palam. But we say liberation is not karma. Jnanameva kaivalyam. Only by knowledge you attain. Attain also a bad word. Only by knowledge you become the peace. Not even say become. You realize that you are the peace. There's no becoming, but it is being. There's no getting, but realizing that you already got what you have. Like if I keep my glasses like this above my head and look for the glasses, and you say, you have it on your head. Oh, I got it now. But I really don't get it. I get the knowledge that I have it. Understand? That means that liberation have to happen now. The freedom has to happen now. The mukti has to be now. It has to be in this world. It's called a Jivan Mukti. Of course, just to differentiate that as a post-mortem, we say a word called Videha Mukti, as if the body is some sort of impediment. Don't ever think body is an impediment to liberation. Of course, we curse the body, curse the birth, just because we are incapable of controlling it, disowning it. The body is a means for liberation. Body helps you to do penance. That's why the avatar Purushas takes the form. Why didn't Krishna come as a Sukshma Purusha and then do something as an Asariri? But why he was a physical embodiment? Body has nothing to do with that. Samsara. So that is the context. So the question therefore to us, if I don't understand this, what happens to me? Like Arjuna asked, Nachiketas asked, that's called the Jiva Gati. In the first 8 months, 7 mantras, Yamadharma Raja explained to Nachiketas, the Jiva Gati is an infinite samsaric cycle. If the Jiva does not realize its oneness with the Ishvara. Of course, before that, he explained what is the Jiva Swarupam. The Jiva Swarupam is all your Stula Sushma Karana Sariram, the Chidabhasam, the Hankaram, all that we talk, the Panchaklesham. So we know what is the Jiva Swarupam. Is the bundle of ignorance leveraging or riding on the body-mind complex, thinking foolishly that it is by itself an entity of its own. That is Jiva. That Jiva's Gati is, it may go to Swarga, Naraga, depending on the Papa Punya it accumulates. That journey is called Jiva Yatra, that is ad infinitum, endless. So we know Jiva Swarupam, we know Jiva Gati. This knowledge doesn't help me except to say that if I need to be free, I must somehow give up the bhavam of jiva. Bhavam is the attitude, behavior, orientation towards subhavam. Subhavam is your inherent qualities that you express. It's just a bhavam. Bhava means it is a enforced projection of yourself because of your karma vasana. So this man, you say, hey, Raja, he's always like that, miserly person, conjuice, he's rude person, you say. So that nature in me, I call it a subhavam because you see me all the time, but it cannot be my subhavam. Because the bhavam means It is imposed on me. Why? Because of my karma vasanas. So jiva bhavam can be discarded. If you discard it, you have to have Atma bodham. So Atma bodham, bodham means knowledge, the light, effulgence about the Atma. The Atma bodham comes in, the jiva bhavam goes away. They are mutually exclusive. Like a sun cannot be next to the darkness. So, like that, the Atma bodham exists, jiva bhavam cannot exist. So that is what we need to know. So what is the Atma Swarupam? So that he gave in the eighth mantra, ya esha sukteshu jagrti kamam kamam purusho nirmimanaha tadeva shukram tad brahmam tade vasudam uchyate tade vamrit tade tat eva amritam uchyate tasmin lokashritaha sarve tadu natyenti kaschana etatu vaitad. We saw this in detail. So just to give the context to this class, that Brahma Lakshanam Atma Swarupam is explained using the Jiva Bhavam, the Anubhavam of the Jivas. It said, you as a Jiva experience, the word used in Sanskritam is avastha, conditioned endurance of some experiences in life. Experience is not that you think and create it. Experience happens to you because you are put into a situation where the experience happens with the objects of experience, right? So we have Vedanta classifies our life into three experiences. If you take the sum of it, that is your life. This position right now, you and I talking to each other, realizing the world, looking at the beautiful sunshine outside, all that emotions are going through, this life is called Jagrat state. The avastha called Jagrata avastha. Try to use as much Sanskrit words, because there's no equivalent in any language to give you the perfection of it. So Jagrat is your state of being with the empirical world, transacting the world, your buddhi, mind, intellect, body, everything is working. In actual sense, this is what we consider our real thing. Then there is a state of affairs where you go through a swapna, a dream state, swapna avastha, where you also have a world of your creation based on your experiences and vasanas. In that world of your creation, your creation underline, you deal with things, you go through emotions. As you go through in the Jagrata state, you feel hunger, you feel thirst, anger, happiness, all this. But then fadafat, it stops. You, because you're able to come back with certain memory, you call it illusion. But Vedanta calls all avasthas are illusion in a different state. So that is the second experience you go through. The third experience is I now give up my world, give up all these senses, let my mind rest, let my buddhi also take rest. That means I disown everything. I am all alone. See, loneliness is not sadness, Sometimes when we are very old, we get retired and children are far away, we think I'm alone. And therefore I'm sorry, I'm sad. You don't need to. Because, in fact, on the contrary, being alone, the solitude is giving you the bliss. The evidence is your deep sleep. The deep sleep, you are alone. In Vedantic speak, you alone exist. Okay? We'll take some time to understand that. But today you are alone. It is peaceful, blissful. I know it after I got up, but I know I enjoyed a place. That's a sushupti avastha. So your life has got three parts: Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti. So if you need to have welfare in your life, if you want to have a complete life, you have to give focus on all these three experiences. It's not enough just you work for 9 to 9 and then you have something to drink and then intoxicated, lie down because that is not important to you. No, then you are spoiling 2/3 of your life. So this is the Vedanta's view of the life. Now the question here is, since I'm experiencing all these three avasthas, I'm able to connect them and create a coherence of it. That means, how is it possible? Because I don't know when I am in dream state what I do in my Jagrata state. I don't wear spectacles when I dream. I wear spectacles in the actual life. So I am completely alienated. I don't know what's happening in each state. They are independent world. But what makes it all connected and show me that this is my life? It means there is something in me existing untouched by this experience. A Sakshi. A Sakshi is there seeing my Jiva Bhavam engrossed in this worldly life, engrossed in the Swapna state, engrossed in the deep sleep state. And this Sakshi has got a log so that when I am coming back to my Jagrata state, I can look at my log and say what I had gone through it. Understand? The point here is that Sakshi, is it you or somebody else in you? Sometimes you say, I say from a Manas Sakshi, when you want to say I'm truthful, you say, surely I tell you, from my heart I can touch and tell you. Because you are telling the Sakshi you are calling is the Sakshi that is seeing all the three avasthas, not the Sakshi of your mind that this man is bad, this man is good, and then calculative, manipulative. Not that Jiva Bhava. The Sakshi is that Atma. Now, if you say, oh, that is something not me, then you are still in a Dvaita Bhavam. You may pay respect to that. You may quote from Bhagavad Gita and all this mm, great pramanas. That Sakshi is God. I am the Jiva. I surrender to the God. We are Vaidam. Then good luck to you. Because as long as you are away from them, you have no choice but to go through. You no choice but to be a controlled entity. No matter who controls you, whether it is a control by a Sadguna Brahman or Nirguna Brahman, or it is if you are seen as being controlled, you are having samsara. Freedom is not there. The absolute freedom is become absolutely fearless, absolutely one, absolutely sutantram, remains absolutely the Brahman, the Atma. So that Sakshi is therefore me. So what about this phrase Jiva? Ah, the jiva somehow had to be merged with the Ishvara, the Atma, that is. Therefore, I need to have the assertion Jiva Ishvara Aikyam. Well, you have this taradamyam, the differences, therefore you have a Jiva and Ishvara. When you are analyzing all this, when you get this knowledge and say that Jiva and Ishvara are nothing but the same, and when you make on that samanmayam, that make that oneness, it's called a Mahavakya. Aham Brahma Asmi. Brahman is the Atma. Aham is the Jiva. I've been thinking about myself. This man of 6 foot tall and a banker and all that kind of stuff. No, that is not my real thing. I am the Sakshi. The Guru says, Tadu Tvam Asi. You are that. See, in all these Mahavakyas, they are bringing the knowledge for you to realize who you really are. So this is what he is going to further explain to Nachiketas. So what did we saw in the last class? In the last class we saw the ninth mantra. So we go from there. What he's going to do now, the question that I have and you have in your mind, okay, this Sakshi is in me. So Sakshi is in everybody else. So the Atma is everywhere. And the Vedanta says this Atma is one. I have given the example of using upadhis. You remember we discussed upadhi. What is upadhi? What is upahitam? Two words. Upadhi is that limited object which lends its nature superficially to the one close to it. Upadhi is that limited object which lends its dharma to something which is closer to it. Upakitam is that which assumes the role of the upadhi. We saw the example of spaticum and a flower. A rose flower next to a translucent spaticum makes the spaticum look rosy. So spaticum is a upahitam. As I suggested to you, start using the phrases, Sanskrit phrases. Upati is the rose. The subhavam of this thing, say sometime, I give example of the garlic smell going through or the dirt, you touch something dirty and your hand become dirty. So the nature of dirt is dirtiness, ugliness. It comes to my hand. So this is called samsarka dosham. This is not upati because my hand actually become dirty. I touch something dirty and hand become dirty. It is not, it is falsely giving its nature to me. It is really giving its nature to me. This object which is dirty is passing the dirt to my hand becomes dirty. Do you understand the difference? This is not superficially giving its nature. It is actually translating its nature to it. This can happen only between two limited objects. Every word I say, you must remember, very important. Only between two limited objects, limited means yes, every object in this world. They can have samsarka dosham. That means there's a chemical reaction, physical reaction can happen. The nature of one can go into the other. All the chemical reactions are like that. So you were in the room with a lot of smokers, and you come home and your wife says, "Did you smoke? You smell nicotine." Well, I did. I was in a room where everybody was smoking. What happened? Samsarka dosha happened. All the nicotine came into my jacket, my shirt. You're not talking about that. You're talking about an upati where it appears to have got into that. This is important to understand because this is the only way we can explain how the Atma, which is inside me as a Sakshi, also inside you as a Sakshi, inside the tree, inside the ant, inside the snake, inside everything else. So, how does it take this form? That's why this mantra came in. Agnir, Agnir Yadaiko Bhavanam Pravishto, Rupam Rupam, Prajarupa Babhuva, Ekastata, Sarvabhuta Antaratma, Rupam Rupam, Prajarupa Bhagischa. Raja is going to give in the 9, 10, and 11 the three mantras with the Upati Upakitam context. He is now taking Agni as Atma, just for example to compare that. So our question is what in our mind, how does the Atma appears in different form? If Advaitam is Satyam, Atma is all pervading, and there are different forms, that means Atma is taking different forms. How is it possible? For that, the example is given. Okay, take Agni. Agnir yata ek. Agnir yata eko. Yata eko is yata ek. How the Agni is just one. Very important, everybody. Eka Agni. There is only one Agni. Can you say there are two Agnis? Oh, that man is smoking cigarettes. On the tip of the cigarette, there is an Agni. And there's a Yajnam going on, there's another Agni. There are two Agnis, you say. No. There's only one Agni. But what happened? The Agni, Bhuvanam Pravishtaha, Rupam Rupam. Rupam Rupam means in every form as per the form. Where in the Bhuvanam, in this world, what happened? Pravishtaha. It happens, it appears. The one Agni appears in every form as per their form inside. How? Pratirupo bhuva. Pratirupo. It becomes that form. See, what he is saying is, again, all the examples also very reasonable and very relevant. He now takes the Ishvara Tattvam to Saguna Brahma. Because when you say form, it is Sagunam. Sagunam means form. Nama Rupa Guna Vishesham. So my question is about how the Nirguna Brahman or the Atma become Saguna Brahman, the Nama Rupa Guna Vishesham, the Karyam in other words. That he says, in every form you see, the Atma is alone existing it. Then why you say Agni as an example? The example Agni I can see. I can't say small fire, big fire. In a small wood, it's a small fire. I can't say a cigarette fire and a yajnam fire are two different things. No. Same fire lights at different upadhis. So it takes the form, rupam, rupam, pratirupam. In a cigarette, it is like a cigarette light. It's a yajnam light. Same Agni. Tata, the same way, Ek Sarva Bhudantaratma. Rupam Rupam Pratirupo Bhagischa. So in the same way, Sarva Bhuta Antaratma. Now the Agni is the Upahitam. The Upahitam now is taken to the what it means, the Atma. What is Atma? Sarva, that means all, Bhuta, embodiments, Andara, indwelling, Atma. One. Eka is important, Advaita. The only one which is that indwelling Atma, Tata, the same way like Agni, Rupam Rupam Pratirupam Bhagischa. In every form, it appears outside. The Agni also is called Virat Rupam. Virat is Agni, Stula. See, the Brahman Ishvara comes into Virat Rupam and Hiranyagarbha and Ishvara. So here you take the Virat Rupam. Every gross body is Agni. When you say Agni, it means it signifies the Panchabhuta Tattvams, in which Agni is the first one to show the form. That's the reason you can take Akasha. But here, the context is very right. Here, explaining the Rupam, all the Rupams in this world are coming from Agni. Agni is the first primordial energy that has got a form. The Agni is nothing but Ishvara. Ishvara nothing but Brahman. Maya Sakita Brahman Ishvara. So the example of Agni as a Upati is appropriate. This you must understand. And it also gives you a very relevant answer because it talks about all the forms in this world. Okay? So that means no matter whether it is a pig or is a snake or is it a man or is it an angel, this is Brahman alone is there. It appears to be this madman, like the Agni appears to be a cigarette light. Like that, the pure Shuddhatma, the Parabrahman, is in this bad man called Hitler once. Don't ask the question why Hitler behaved. You should know. He wasn't a Jiva Bhavam. So that's a very different discussion to take for. But here we have to take Sarvatma Bhavam means the Atma has no difference. There's nothing good or bad, nothing evil or virtuous. It is all pervasive. Everything is in it, in everything it is in. So the second example. The next one. The next one is also interesting, but it's very easy for you to understand. Vayur Taiko Bhuvanam Pravishto Rupam Rupam Pratirupa Babhuva Ekastata Sarvabhudanta Atma Rupam Rupam Pratirupa Bhagischa. This mantra sounds exactly like number 9. The only phrase changes Vayuhu instead of Agni. Now, since I've explained to you the context of the example, it's not a random example he's giving. The first example with Agni, he makes you to contemplate the Sarvatma Bhavam in all the gross form. Because that is the first hurdle you need to get out. Now you finish Vedanta class, you come out and somebody parked the car in front of your car. You don't bounce on him that as he's an evil man. At least for some time, you must have in memory that action is wrong, but there's a divinity in him. So your approach will change. That's the practical aspect of Vedanta. So the first, but this is the most important impediment we need to cross: the ability to say no. You can intellectualize it. You can write a paper. You can say why everything is Atma and publish a paper. There's no point in a physical, gross nature. You don't see divinity in everything. That's the reason why only in our dharma we worship anyone as long as we know the divinity is flourishing on him. Because the worship we do is to divinity in the Atma. So, so the first example of Agni is about the Stula Sukshma, sorry, Stula Sarira Abedam. Now, Sukshma Sarira means basically it's a pranam, prana Sarira. The mind, indriyas, pranas. Don't forget that. In like Avastatrayam, you have the Sariratrayam. We got three bodies. The physical body, Stula Sariram, also called Annamaya Kosham. Then subtle body called Sukshma Sariram, subdivided into Pranamaya Kosham, Manomaya Kosham, Vijnanamaya Kosham. Altogether is called Sukshma Sariram. That is what carries the Karma Vasana. Karma Vasana is the third Sariram, Karana Sariram, or Anantamaya Kosham. Anandam, because it is ignorance. Complete ignorance is a bliss. That's why when you have a deep sleep, you are wearing the carpet of the blanket of ignorance, you are blissful. You know nothing. So in the Sthula Sariram, Annamaya Kosham, which creates a form and it gets a name, we see differences in the form and the name. And because of the chemical component of it that reacts to the Sukshma Sariram, there's a Guna Visheshana happens. Guna is a component of product of the mind. Because a man sleeping is as harmless like a pillow. But when he gets up, he's an angry man. The difference is his Sthula Sariram is now influenced by his Sukshma Sariram, which brings the Gunam. So the Nama Rupam of the Sthula Sariram get a Guna Vishesham because of the Sukshma Sariram. Yeah. I use lots of words, but it's all simple. You know it, what I'm saying. So the Sukshma Sariram, the vector there, the core there is the prana Vayu, the Vayu. And the Vayu also one level subtler than the fire. Akasha, Vayu, Agni. Akasha has only one quality, that is hearing. That's why it called Shruti. Vayu got, because it came from Akasha, it has got the ability to hear plus a feel of touch. Everybody can touch the breeze, right? From there, the fire came, Agni. It inherited both space and the air, the sense of touch, and hear. You can hear the fire, but it has a form. Then, of course, then the Jala came with the taste. And then Prithvi came with the smell. So the Panchabhutas like this, you know this. So the Vayu is more subtler. Therefore, from the Sthula Sariram to go to Sukshma Sariram, he take the Prana Vayu, who is nothing but Hiranyagarbha. The cosmic prana is Hiranyagarbha. So the how the air takes the form in each body. Exactly the same explanation I gave you before for Agni. This is exercise for you to contemplate. No difficulty here. That means the Sukshma Sariram fills up all the embodiments as a Sukshma. See, what about that which doesn't have respiration, breathing? A rock, a mountain? Is there not an Atma there? Oh, that's an Anatma, you said, right? You may think. See, the Atma Anatma Vivekam is just a step. This is the both the best part of Vedanta as the worst part of Vedanta. It will teach you something with a strong assertion. You follow it. At some stage, you'll say, "Oh, now you come to the step. Whatever I taught you, just drop it because they are all completely false. Take another step." So to get your focus to make you think that you are not the Jiva Bhavam, there is necessary to separate Atma from Anatma, not Atma. And how do we do that? We take just one definition of Atma to differentiate. That definition is effulgence, awareness, consciousness, chit. So we say everything in this world, every object, every being has got a classification we can make, Chetanam and Achetanam. That which has got the conscious awareness and that which does not have. Okay. Again, I make the statement, you make the statement from your perspective, right? How do I know that stone doesn't have awareness? I don't know. I assume from my point of view, right? It's fine. So therefore, I am taught by the Vedanta to call these aspects of insentiency, jadatvam, inanimated being, as achetanam, and that is anatma. Why do I take that approach? Because the utmost difference of me as a being and me as just an object is my animation, is my consciousness, is my awareness. Because when I'm dead, that is not me. And people call that is his body. Right? So even if I am in a lying down a red coma, they would still say, yeah, he's lying down, but you won't even really call him he because he has no smarana. So Vedanta gives you that step. This is, I won't say kindergarten, this is the high school education in the Vedanta. Take that one as the differentiator in you, whichever is giving you the consciousness, the effulgence, the intelligence of knowing, that you call it Atma, which is not having that capacity to comprehend, to analyze, call it Anatma, not Atma. So this is important. So therefore, hold on to that thought. There is an Atma and Anatma, so that I can discard this computer is not me, the shirt is not me, my inner garments are not me, my body is not me, my mind is not me. So I can start discarding this process to come to Atma. But then at some stage you will have a question. That means there are two things in this world, Atma and Anatma. And there are many schools like Sankhya. They call it Purusha and Prakriti. There is a Purusha, the conscious being, and Prakriti is unconscious or no conscious insentient object. And they two always exist, they say. Anadi, always exist. If it always exists, then if you look at the Karanakari Tattvam, who created this Prakriti or the Ishvara? No, no, they both exist. That means there is nothing omnipotent. There is nothing all creating one. No. Then it becomes a dosham to the God. If Purusha is a God, then Prakriti is not created by the God. Then Purusha is not all powerful. You see the flaw in this yukti. Then you have some manipulation. No, no, no. There is a beyond the Purusha and Prakriti. So Patanjali started this one. Kapila Sankhya was beautiful, analyze everything, but he did not accept Ishvara. There are a lot of Purushas, lot of bodies. Patanjali is somehow that something is hitting because he's a logical man. So the Purusha cannot create Prakriti because there are a lot of Purushas. Patanjali also think the same way. Therefore, there must be an Ishvara. Ishvara Pradhanat. There must be an Ishvara above these two who created this and this. So Patanjali also a Dvaiti, but he brought Ishvara into the picture. Then said, okay, it makes sense because it cannot be two. You see, what we are looking for to hang on to something as all knowing, all powerful, always existing, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent being. It has to be only one. Now, this arrangement gives me that concept because there is an Ishvara who goes everything else. By the way, but there are a lot of Atmas, Purushas, lot of Prakritis, lot of bodies. Then a lot of schools start that way. And then they refined and they gone with the, okay, let's call the Ishvara as a Parameshvara. But I want to give him a shape of Shiva. Then Shaivism came in and then they granular given a lot more precise definition of all the intermediate steps, which are a lot more logical, but they still follow this very specialized, they call it a Visishta Advaitam is Ramanuja's one, similar to that, Shivadvaitam. Advaitam in a Shiva's way. They also say there's only one God, but the God is called Shiva. So they say no, there's one God, God is called Vishnu. Who are we to name? If you can be called Shiva, you can be called as Vishnu. So the Nama Rupam cannot constrain it. So in Advaita Vedanta, we don't have any quarrel with anybody. All this knowledge is essential, but you will get a roadblock at some stage unless and until you break this syndrome. You know why you don't give up this syndrome? Because you always want to maintain your identity. Narendranath asked the same thing to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He got that ecstasy of being one, inexplicable one. I don't want to go into stories now, but and he wants to be in that all the time. And he goes and asks him and says, look, on that experience you gave me in front of this Kali, and I had this inexplicable. I went there to pray for something and never asked for anything. I was so blissful because he was one with this God. Advaita Anubhuti he was in. But then he asked, as a practical man, he says, look, I like to know it and be in it all the time. I want to know it, I want to be in it. Right? Like he wants to be like in a glass of honey. You want to sit on the periphery of the glass tumbler, drink the honey, but be separate. You know, we all like to hold this because why that? Because that abhinivation is a panchaklesham, it's one of the klesham. That means you don't want to really give up that identity of your jiva bhava. Because Ramakrishna Paramahansa said, if you go there, you are like a salt doll. And salt doll goes into the sea, there is no doll anymore. There's nothing to explain that I have experience. There's no experience. It's not called avastha anymore. It's called anubhuti. Anubhuti is that state of bliss where there's nothing for you to explain, nothing for you to rationalize it. Complete bliss, complete mukti, complete redemption. So, the Bedam of Atma and Atma is a stepping stone to learn that. So here what yes we have shown in the Saguna Brahman, which is shown as a Hiranyagarbha or Agni Virat Rupa, it takes every form. That is how you should look at the Sakshi in you and in the Samashti. Then the Shishya thinks in her mind, okay, if that is the case, if in the Rupam Pratirupam Bhavishya, if I become that each Rupam, won't I be contaminated? He doesn't understand the Asangatva. He thinks about the samsarga dosha. If I am in this body of a rabbit, won't it behave like a rabbit? You saw that Lion King movie. The little uh, lion cub is being groomed by a number of monkeys or whatever. So it behaves as if it is not a lion. The natural swabhava is hidden somewhere. So it is not fighting for its food. It is not roaring itself. It's not standing up as a magnificent beast. But when it is given that knowledge that you are not this monkey, like Karna was given by Kunti that you are not a Radeya, you are a Kuru Vamsha. So he has not become a Kshatriya, he realized he was Kshatriya. See, Mukti is like that. Atmajnanam is like that. It is like, it's not that you're going to acquire something new, because anything you acquire new will not last forever. So it is the realization of it. So the question, therefore, if I am in that, so I was like, see, when Karna realizes thing, he was behaving like a Kshatriya. The Lion King, the lion cub become a lion. The transformation happens. So what happened to all these monkey qualities? It shed itself. So it is not really some dosham, it is the upadhi. So that he explained in the next mantra, which is important mantra. Suryo yata sarvalokasya chakshuhu na lipyate साक्षु शायद बाह्यते शय एकस्तथा सर्वभूत सर्वभूतांतरात्मा न लिप्यते लोकतुकेन बाह्य सूर्यो यथा यथा सूर्यो यथा सूर्यः yata means in which way, how the sun sarvalokasya sakshuhu sarvalokasya sakshuhu how the sun is the sakshu means eye, how the sun is the eye of all this world. Is it sun the eyes of all the world? Yes. Here the sun, we can take both the physical sun as well as the Ishvara. Either way. That is that gives you the, if you look at the embodiment, the physical body is Agni Swarupam. Agni, what makes your body? That's why when the dead body, the body becomes cold. Agni goes away. Agni is there all over your body, performing many things. Then for each of these angas, both the Stula Sukshma angas, there's a Devata we worship. For years there's a Vayu as a Devata. Why? You can hear through the air. So Agni is there in your navel, Hridaya. Rudra is Devata for Hridaya. For the eyes is a Surya. Even for the three eyes of Ambal and Parameshwara, it is said Chandra, Surya, Agni. So the Surya is the power of perception, the power of knowledge, the seeing ability. So I can see things in this world because sun is lighting on this computer. The light of the sun on the objects make the objects to reflect their existence. Yeah, now I realize why I was thinking. So we were discussing about Atma and Atma, and I parked there with the gap saying that if Chetanam is the discriminator, what about the rock and the mountains and all that? So in the Atma, like Kathopanishad gives you a definition of Atma as Chat, Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat means existence. Chit means consciousness. Ananda means awareness. So when we choose the Chit as a Chitatma, then we are able to differentiate Chetanam and Achetanam and call everything without that expressive Chit as Achetanam. The Sat aspect also, not aspect is not right, the Sat Atma also you should consider. If you take Sat, which means existence, isness, a rock, does it exist or not? It exists. A mountain, a tree, a stone, all exist. But existence is what? Atma. So how can I call a mountain or a rock or inanimate objects as an Atma? No, it's also Atma. But that Atma is Sat Prasam. It elaborates the Sat aspects of Atma. But for the Chetana Vyavastha, I was using the Chit as an Atma. That's what I wanted to say. So that part comes from the eye. So when the light comes on the sunlight comes on the computer, I know the existence of a computer. The Sat palm of the computer is shown. And I see it and recognize it. How? Because my chit, my Atma is consciousness, it recognizes that. The sun, therefore, has to light on the objects to be seen, and sun as Ishvara has to light the seer, then something is seen. If you take a physical sun, then of course you are looking at the physical aspects of it. If you take Ishvara as a light of the sun, then Ishvara is the light of my consciousness, my Atma, and he makes me see that. Now, the point here is na lipyate. Lipyate means impacted. Na lipyate. The sun is not affected by throwing its light. Just because the sun is light, putting lights on me, and also on a beggar, on a gutter, on a Ganges, does mean the sun's light is polluted? No, because Bhakyo doshehi. See, if the sunlight is falling on a handicapped person, does it mean the sunlight is handicapped? It falls on a gutter, does sunlight become polluted? No. Eka sarvabhudatma na lipyate. Loka dukkena na lipyate. The last line. In the sufferings of the world, the Atma is not affected. There is a interesting text called Manisha Panchakam. Bhagavan Adishankara's life, it's a very important part. So once he goes with his entourage of disciples from the Ganges, he goes to in Varanasi. He finished the bath and the Anushtanam. I think he walks. In Mahatma's life, all Mahatma's life, they will create leelas to impart a greater knowledge. It's not just they sit down and one day write the whole thing and then because that will not impact. They have to show the difficulties of human life, and in that life, that's why Ramayana is so important for us. Why it is not Valmiki didn't call Ramacharitam, but Rama Ayanam, Rama's life, Rama's path. Because what path you take, how do you conduct yourself? And Rama and Sita are the most suffered beings in Avatara. What a torture Sita gone through, Rama gone through. Abused by all this, even his civilian citizens abused Rama, abusing Sita some stage. But in everything, he stood for the dharmic path. That's why he got a Maryada Purushottama. So Bhagavan Shankara, his life also like that. He shows when you are coming back, he is now popular. A lot of people are following him. The disciples are going and say, go away, move away. Acharya is coming, move away. And one of the disciples tried to say this, and he saw a chandala, a scavenger with 4 dogs in his hand, with the liquor, intoxicated, gandhi admi, dirty. He's walking towards him. The disciple says, stop, stop, stop. Go away, go away. You cannot come here. So then he stops, and he did not address the disciples because the disciples do something. This is the important of concept, because when a child is doing something misbehave, they will call the parents. Your child is behaving like this, because the child, out of naivety, do things The parents take the responsibility. So this scavenger asked Acharya, and he says, "What are you talking? What these people are talking? Kim Gankamputi Bimbi Dembramano Chantala Vidi perhaps." He says, Pureva Andaramasti Kanchanakatim Tutkumbayor Vambare. What is the difference, oh Jnani, in a golden pot and in a mud pot? Is there a difference in the space inside? Pratyek Vastuni Nistaranga Sakaja Ananda Avadu Sampad. He goes on further. We don't have time. So he says, you look at the Ganges there, the water that falls on the Ganges, the sunlight that falls on the Ganges, and the sunlight that falls in my kamandala, my pot, which contains filthy drink. You think the sunlight has been blemished by this? Where are you seeing the blemish? In my body, in my appearance, in my conduct, or in this Sarva Sakshini that is inside me? What is your vision? What are you seeing? You see, of course, Bhagavan takes responsibility on behalf of disciples and says, no matter who you are my guru, Manisha. So Manisha means I make a decision. You are my guru. He falls on his feet. So the important import is it does not matter how the appearance of the person is, his conduct may be, that his Atma Chaitanyam, which we are trying to associate each one of us to be, is asankaha. Asankaha means it is never touched, is unattached. It's pure upahitam. It doesn't have the samsarka dosham. Remember these two words? What is samsarka dosham? Samsarka dosham is the influence of one on the other for real. That can only happen when both objects are limited. If both are unlimited, can you say that? It's a fallacy. Both cannot be unlimited. Unlimited means unbounded. Can there be two things both are infinite? No. So that problem doesn't exist. So there is no question of two unlimited things. So two limited things possible, and between them, when they combine, the guna vishesham change is called as samsarkana dosham, sarga dosham, samsarga dosham. Two unlimited cannot be there, but there is one unlimited and many limited. That is the real state. The one unlimited is the Atma. The many limited are the all this nama rupa guna upadhi. Between them, can there be a samsarga dosham? The answer is no. But that can be only a false imposition of one's dharma on the other. It's called upadhi upahita sambandha. The upahitam is the sun. The sun does not, even though it lights fall on filthy water, the sun is ever pure. Same way, the Atma may be indwelling in many objects, many bodies, nothing affects them. Now, I want to leave you with this statement for you to contemplate. What does it mean? It means whatever I am doing, I don't want it. whatever, whoever I'm killing, I am not killing it. This is what Arjuna got. What is this paradoxical statement? Whatever I am doing, I am not doing. So the first I is my Jiva Bhavam. If I do things, the Jiva Bhavam. Second I is the Atma Bhavam, Atma Bodham. The Atma is not doing it. Why? Atma is a Sakshi in the presence of in like when the sunlight is there, the tree blossoms, fruits comes. The sun was the cause of it. Yeah, in a way. But the tree is the one who do kriyas. So you do the kriyas, you do the karmas. And when you do it, you think I am doing it, then the karma pala becomes to you. So therefore, you go to the karma balam and you do pava punya, will give you the different birth. You keep on going around. I do, I won't, I do, I won't. But the I, the true I in you, which will go away and resolve into Atma Bhavam, does not own anything. So now if you understand this, you come back to the elementary part of Bhagavad Gita of Karma Yoga and Karma Sannyasa. What Karma Yoga says, Sannyasa says, is that you are born in this world, you have certain duties to do, learn them and do them. First, do them because they ought to be done. As a Ishvara Prasadam, you accept the result, Karma Yoga. Then you continue to do. Now you don't do because your bhavam is Atma. The work is being done, but you don't have the doership. That means you are in a karma sannyasa. That's the reason why Arjuna, Bhagavan said, Bhagavan did not go to chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 6. He didn't want to go because Arjuna asked the question. Arjuna, you given him, this is what you need. This is what you're doing, just keep doing. Everything will be fine. I take care of it. So if you are able to do that, you don't need Vedanta class. You just do what need to be done, do it dispassionately, and do it as Ishvara Kripa. At some stage, you even given up the doership. Giving up the doership is the biggest sacrifice, and it is called, you are called a dhiraha. The Shabdam Dhira in Upanishad mention those valiant people who can give up themselves. Okay. Sorry, I took a few more minutes. We stop it now. Om Shagana Bhavatu.
Om Sagana Vavatu
Sagano Bhunaktu.
Sahanavatu
Kaviryam Karavavahai.
Sahaviryanakaravahi
Tejasvinavadidamastu.
Namastu
Mahavitvishavahai.
Mahavahi
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om Tat Sat.
Hari
Hari
Om Tate.
Thank you, Raja.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Thank you, Balaji and Raja. Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye.